toil, and evil. The, strat- the strategy of self conscious being process suffering, inevitable suffering, that suffering in turn motivates that desire your selfish immediately gratification for expediency, but sacrifice and work serve serve for serve for more efficiently that short-term impulsive pleasures that keep suffering at the bay. However, strategy itself convince convince of has the arbitrary harshness of society and the nature set against the vulnerability of individual is not the only and perhaps is not the only and perhaps not even the primary source of suffering. There is also the problem of evil to consider. The war is hard. The war is set hard against of a certainly, but man's inhumanity to man is something even gross. Thus, the problem of the sacrifice is compound in its complexity. In this complexity, it is not only privation and mortal limitation that must be addressed by work, by the willingness to offer and to give up. It is the problem of evil as well. Consider once again the story of Adam and Eve. Life become life becomes very hard for their children's that's that us that us their children after the fall and awakening of archetypal parents for the terrible fate against await in the most partial word in the world of the history. Not the least of this is what happened God see what he call our creative endless toil. Human works, as we have seen, we work because we have awakened to the truth of our own vulnerability, our suggestion to disease and death, and wish to protect ourselves for as long as possible. Once we can see the future, we must prepare for it. Our live in denial of terror. We therefore sacrifice the pleasures of today for the sake of better tomorrow. But the realization of mortality and the necessary work is not the only revelation to Adam and Eve. When they eat the forgiven fruit, wake up and open their eyes. They will also granted or cursed by the knowledge of God and evil. It took it took me decades to understand what that means, to understand even part of what that means. Even that what means. It is this. Once you become consciously aware that you yourself are vulnerable, you understand the nature of human vulnerability in general. You understand what it is like to be fe- to be fearful and angry and resentful and bitter. You understand what pain means. And once you truly understand such feelings in yourself and how they are produced, you understand how to process them in their others. It is in this manner that the self-conscious being that we that we that that we are become vulnerability in exquisitely capable of tormenting others and ourselves. You you course, but it is the others we are concerned about right now. Was it the consequence of new knowledge manifest themselves when we met Cain and Abel, the sons and Adam and Eve? 206. By the time of their presence, mankind has learned to sacrifice to God on altar stones designed for the purpose. A commutual ritual is performed. The immolation of something valued, a choice animal or portion thereof, thereof, and this transformation throughout fire to the smoke to the spirit that risen to have abode. This manner the ideal this manner the idea of delay is dramatized, so what the future might improve. Abel sacrifice are accepted by God, and the flourishes flowers rises flourishes flourishes. Cain's whoever are reject, he becomes jealous and bitter, and it is no wonder if someone fails and is rejected become just because he refused to make any sacrifice at all. Well, that is the least understatement. He may still feel resentful and vengeful, but who knows in this hurt that he is personality to blame. That knowledge generally places a limit on his outrage. outrage. It is much worse, however, if he had actually foregone the pleasure of the moment. If he had strive and toilet and things still didn't work out. If he was reject the spare his efforts, then he lost the present and the future. Then this work, his sacrifice has been pointless. Under such conditions, the word breaking, darkness, darkens, and the soul rebels. Cain is outraged by his rejection. He comforts God, accuses him, and curses his creation. That proved to be a very poor decision. God's response is no certain terms that the fall is all with Cain and grows. That Cain has knowledge, now now Walden, now Walden, Wingley, Wingley, now Wingley, and creative dallies with his with sins, with sin, and reap the consequence. This is not at all what Cain wanted to be heard. To her, it is by no means an apology on God's part. Instead, the insult add to injury. Cain embittered to the core by God's response as plot revenge. He defies the Creator. Audency is darling. Cain now Cain know how to hurt. He is self-conscious after all, and has become even more so in his suffering and shame. So he murdered Cain. So he murdered Abel, his cool blood. He kills his brother, his own deal. As Abel is everything Cain wishes to be. He commits this most terrible of crimes to the spit himself. All of mankind and God itself all owns. He does it to wreak havoc and gain his revenge. He does to register his fundamental opposition to existence, to protest the intolerable vagaries of being itself, and Cain children the offspring has it word of both his body and his decision arose. In his existential fury, Cain kills Ons. Lamech, his Lamech, Lamech, Lamech. His descendant goes much further. I have slain a man to my wounding, say Lamech, and a young man to my heart. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech century and sevenfold. Tavul Cain has an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. He's by traditional 7th generation from Cain, and the first creator of weapon of fire. The next in the Genesis stories become the flood, the just position. I don't know. I say this. I say this. Is by no means accidental. Evil enter the world with self-consciousness. The toil with in childbirth, with which Eve is born out, and her consequent dependence on her husband are not trivial matters either. They are indicative of the explicit and of agonizing, agonizing strategies of sufficiently privation brought necessary and the plague existence. They mere factual really it's something sufficient to turn Eve a courageous person against life. It has to be my experience, however, what human beings are strong enough to tolerate the implicity strategies of the game without ordering, without breaking or gross breaking bad. I have seen evidence of this repeatedly in my private life, in my work as professor, and in my role as the clinical practitioner. Earthquakes, flood, provenly cancer, we are tough enough to that take on all of that. But human evils add a whole new dimension of misery to the world. In for this reason that the rise of self-consciousness and this attendant realization of mortality and knowledge of God and evil present in the early chapters of Genesis and in the vast tradition that surround them has cataclysm of cosmic magnitude. Conscious humans malevolence. Conscious humans malevolence can break the spirit. Even tragedy could not shake. I remember discovering with her that once once of the clients had been shocked into the years of serious post-traumatic stress, discovered daily physical shaking and the terror and chronic mildly insomnia. By the merged expression on her enraged, broken boyfriend face. His fallen countenance, indicate his clear and conscious speed to her hand. She was more naive that she should have been, and this disposed her to the trauma. But that is not the point. The voluntary evil we do the voluntary evil we do one another can be profoundly and permanently damaged, even even to the strong. And what is precisely that motivates just evil? It doesn't make itself manifest merely in consequence of the heart of a lot of life. It doesn't even emerge simply because of failure itself or because the disappointment has bitterness, but the failure often and understandably angers. But the had a lot of life, magnificent by the consequence of con- continuously reject sacrifice. Whoever poorly conceptualizes, whoever had hurt, heartily executed, that will event has that will bend and twice people into the truly monstrous from who they beg who they begin consciously to work evil, who they who then begin to generate for themselves and the others title begin besides pain and suffering. And who do it who do it for who do it for the sake of the plant pain and suffering. In that manner, a truly vicious circle takes hold. The, the growing sacrifice, half-heartedly untaken rejection of the sacrifice by God and by reality. Take your pick, take your pick, take your pick. Angry resentment generated by the rejection descent into bitterness and the desire for the revenge. Sacrifice undertaken even more brilliantly, or refuse altogether, and it is war itself that serves as the destination place and as the destination place of that downward spiral. Life is indeed nasty, brutally, and short, as the English philosopher Thomas Hobbes so memorably remakes. But man's capacity, man's capacity for evil makes it worse. It means that the central problem lies the dealing with these brute facts is not merely what and how to sacrifice this missing suffering, but what and how to sacrifice, dismiss suffering and evil, the conscious and voluntary and vengeful source of the words of suffering. The story of Cain and Abel is the one of manifestation, the archetypal tale of the hostile brothers, hero, and adversary, two elements of the individual human psyche. One's aimed up and the god and the others down and heal itself. Abel is a hero, true, but a hero who is ultimately defeated by Cain. Abel could, Abel who please God, a non-trivial and unlikely accomplishment, but he could not overcome human evil. For this reason, Abel is archibald incomplete, perhaps has named all throughout as a vengeful brother can be unconsciously, inconceivably treacherous, has unsus- has unsubtle like the snake in Genesis 3:1, but excuses, even reasons, even under table reasons. Don't matter, don't matter, is not the final analysis. The problem of evil remains in unsolved even by divinely, 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 divinely accepted also table sacrifice of Abel. It took thousands of additional years from humanity to come out with anything else resembling a solution. The same issues merge against, and it is culminating from in the story of Christ and his templation by Satan. But his time is expressed more comprehensively and hero ones. Okay, what is the objective for this channel? I am Hector Hernandez. I am still practice the English in my country. I learn to the I read to the books in English because I practice to the reading, speaking, and record the progress to the improvedness. For me, it's not to monetize, it's not to reputation or others means to the influencer. The only objective is improve to the English. I don't monetize anything with this because it's our only reason for this channel.